Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 4, Episode 35, Best Budget Drone and Hubsan Zino Mini Pro update. And I'm joined by Marcus, and later on, Ron's going to be joining us as well. Marcus, how are you this evening?
Good, Bill. Doing okay. Been out flying a few drones, not today, but last few days.
Good. Yeah. Good to hear. So we got a lot to talk about. I found some interesting things to talk about before we get to a couple of subjects here. Just want to go ahead and see who's here in the chat. Maddie's Drone World, Johnny Drone Flyer, Michael Wright, Jake's Drone Life. Let's see who else is here. Leonard Oglesby, John Olson. Who else we got? Drone Shots here. Let's see who else. You guys have been real active. Ted Bowman is here. Let's see who else. And Stephen Ewing, of course. All right. Well, as I said, I'm joined by Marcus tonight, which is good. And we're gonna talk. We're gonna pick Marcus's brain about the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro and see whether we'll get to that in a minute here. But just for some, one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight was the best budget drone, and we'll get to that here. But some of the thing, we're just going to get right into one of these articles here, and I saw this on Drone XL, and actually had some good pictures of this. Now, this happened up in Canada, and you got to realize something. Okay, this wasn't a little insignificant bump. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share that article. Let's go ahead and get that up here. All right, let's get there. All right. Now, this is the damage you can see here. Oh, I don't even have it on here. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, this is the damage done to a Canadian police drone destroyed after collision with Cessna. Now, that's the kind of plane, and what you're looking at is the cowling up front where the engine resides. And incident took place early afternoon of August 10th, just northwest of Toronto. DJI Matrix 210 was launched in support of police operation. The drone was brought in the approach path of one of the runways. Same time, Canadian Flyers International Cessna Skyhawk. It's a training aircraft with a pilot in training and an instructor on board. There was no separation. The Cessna collided head-on with the drone. As a result, the propeller and nose of the aircraft were damaged. Fortunately, the aircraft was able to land safely, and no one was injured. However, the drone was totally destroyed. And here you could see a little bit of a better picture of that. And there's the drone. Okay, done. Absolute total history. Previous incident, Canadian police drone. It's not the first time. In early 2020, RCMP helicopter was hit by a drone. So, the old adage is, you think nothing will, it's not. This one could have had some fatal consequences, Marcus.
I saw that, read that article too, and it's just kind of stunning that they could be that careless, huh? That's pretty weird. I would like to know more about the circumstances behind that, especially with a drone of that size. And you saw the damage to the aircraft, and it hit the prop too, right? So
yeah, it hit the prop too.
That could have been bad.
And the other thing is, it was a student pilot. Wow. I know for a fact, because I know some flight instructors, and they try to throw curveballs and everything at some of these students, but you couldn't even plan that in your as a curveball.
Yeah, I would say that's a mean ass instructor if he did that.
Yeah, really. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that was just, and I thought it was worth mentioning because of the significance of it. Johnny Mini SE. Okay.
Yeah, Johnny was saying that was in the chat there, so I just wanted him to know that I had his drone.
All right. I love that. I absolutely love that.
I can't help it.
Got to give Marcus an A+ for ingenuity on that one. Okay, I absolutely like that. Now, one of the other articles that I saw today was, it looks like our buddy Osita is telling us that it looks like DJI may be coming out with a new gimbal camera outfit, a new Osmo, and I'm not an Osmo Action, but a big rig kind of camera here. So let's go ahead and share this article here. Again, this is in Drone XL, and if you're looking for these articles, they are posted in Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page. So DJI's next generation Osmo shown in leaked photos. Okay, shown as a setup with a Zenmuse X7-like camera at its core. In addition to the 3-axis gimbal, there's a mechanical dampening of the Z-axis, a focus wheel, an integrated battery pack, and a display. It's unclear when the product will hit the market and what the price will be. You know, it looks there it is. I mean, wow. All I have to say is one word: is expensive, Marcus.
Yeah, it's interesting. Billy Kyle talked about this a little bit on yesterday on Drone Nation, and basically what he said is it's kind of a natural extension of what DJI has been doing. You understand why companies like Sony build outfits like this, but DJI has become, you know, more than we think of them as a drone company, but they've really become well established in the camera world as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Well, you think with, and you have to understand, they're gimbals. I know Ron has had the Zhiyun gimbal, and he's had some fairly okay success with it and everything. And it shows how important it is to photography these days. That a lot of these things that used to be out of reach of normal consumers are within reach of normal consumers. Okay, some of the lower priced end of DJI's gimbals and cameras and things, but something like this, you're probably looking 20, 30,000. I have no idea, but that's just a wild guess for something like this. I mean, but yeah, and there's no date on this or anything, but one of the things that I think is good about this, Marcus, is, this will also bode well for drone development. And, the saying has been around DJI, they don't waste technology. And, things that happened in drones, trickle on down. Same with their cameras. And, it's interchangeable. And I think it's the same here. So we'll see where this ends up, and we'll see how much it ends up costing us. But the one thing that I'm really kind of curious is the Action 2, the Osmo Action 2. It's been crickets about that, because I know Ron's anxious to see that camera come out.
Well, as am I. Yeah, because there's all those rumors about 8K and all that. I'm not sure that I'm so excited about that, but if they could improve their stability. One of the things I love about the Hero 9 that the Osmo Action doesn't have is the Hero 9 has a level horizon algorithm in it. And listen, if you're vlogging, it's really cool because you don't have to worry when you're setting up your camera. You don't have to worry about it being completely level. It'll just do it itself. So just one less thing to worry about while you're.
Oh, yeah.
So if we see those kind of features, I just want to touch on one more thing, Bill. The golden feature for me from either GoPro or from DJI with the Osmo Action is if they could include a wireless mic setup in it.
Yeah. And I can speak to that, Marcus. Having the first Osmo Action, it's a fantastic camera. I use it a ton. I use it a lot more than I thought I was going to use it, and I really like it. But one of their Achilles heels in this version was the sound. And they had a problem with the pocket as well too, as I think so, with sound. And that's something that they do very well as far as the photography, videography aspect of these. But the sound, but I gotta say, I have mine's all set up and geared up and everything. But I think out of the box, you should be able to have something to pick up wireless. I mean, just ready to go,
If not that, at least be able to plug an external mic directly into the camera without like the GoPro. You have to put the mod on it with with the Osmo Action, you've got that little plug-in that you got to plug into the USB-C port. You should have that 3.5 millimeter port available, microphone port, at the very least.
At the very least, yeah. And you had to get an adapter to put on the Osmo Action to do that. I mean, mine looks like, you ought to see. I mean, it's like all Frankenstein with everything on it. I mean,
Yeah, I can pull them both out here real quick, just in case. I suppose everybody in here knows what we're talking about. But so what you have is you have a port on the side, the USB port, and then you've got to use this little. I'm trying to remember the name on the side of this thing. I cannot remember the company that makes this, but you got to. Let's see if I can get this up there. You got to plug it into that USB port. And then you have the microphone port on the back. Well, it's just another step that you have to go through. And then with the GoPro, the only way you get that port is if you've got this mod on there. I can't remember what they call the mod, but yeah. Anyway, it's just an extra step you have to go through. And I can tell you, this is a pain because anytime I want to change out the battery, I got to pull the camera out. And, then I can change out the battery. So and especially when you have it all set up, you've got it all hooked up. We have to take all that apart. Then you have to take it out. So those are just, seems to me that would be simple things that they could correct to improve our workflow tremendously.
Yeah, I agree, because, being able, to get, and it's the same thing with the Osmo Action, to get that out, you have to take it out of the cage and disassemble everything, and then get the battery out, and then you can put the battery back in. The one nice thing that I did like about that adapter, it gave you an option for a USB port. In other words, so I can download. That's when, and I never touch the SD card, because what I do is I put a cable up in there, just hook it up the USB port on my computer, and boom, I just hit the option on the back. Do you want to enable it to your computer? Yes, and then boom, I can access photos or video off it. Super easy. Don't even have to touch the SD card.
Yeah. Hey, I'm getting a couple comments there. People, Maddie's saying I'm showing off my toys. I'll tell you what, Maddie, there's something serious going on there, because when I'm out in the field, I use that GoPro Hero 9. But if I have a problem with that camera for whatever reason, I've got that Osmo Action as a backup, and I use it quite often. And there's times that you need multiple cameras. You're setting up multiple camera angles. So, I mean, I guess it seems like they're toys, but I have to tell you, they're a big part of my workflow.
Well, yeah, I mean, and for me, I use that Osmo Action so much. And, one of the things that I've used it for previously in the past is, I've trained it upon the landing pad to do takeoffs and landings, and, to see how far it is off the pad and so forth. And then, one of the interesting things, and this is just a quick sidebar, and I did watch about 10 minutes of your show last night, but I was super tired. But I caught the part where Billy was talking about him sitting in the car, and and then all of a sudden his phone wigs out on him. It just harkens to me, and it just I had to do that the other when I was flying my Mini SE, because the sun was it had been past like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and the sun was at such an angle I could not see anywhere I was outside. So I had to go sit inside the car and fly, because otherwise I couldn't see. And he was talking about his screen getting dim on him and everything. And it just screams to me the Triple Tech tablet. I'm just so when payday rolls around, that's going to be on my list of things.
So here's Bill. I get it. I get exactly what you're saying, and I'm tempted too. Just like you, I'm very tempted to pull the trigger on that Triple Tech. But again, I start thinking about workflow, and I start thinking about, okay, I get out there in the field and I'm getting everything set up. Okay, so I guess you'd either have to get that tablet that's got an LTE connection on it, so you could hook it into cell service, or then you have to tether it to your phone, so that because I don't know about you, Bill, but I want cell service on my whatever
yeah.
device I'm using for maps, etc. And then you're gonna have to have some kind of a custom mount for that thing, and it's heavy. And I weigh that. I'm trying to weigh those consequences with, okay, how often do I put up with my screen going that dark? I'm just saying that there's things you got to think about.
Right. Now, one thing I can tell you already is Thor's Drone World. He makes a couple of great mounts, and there's one mount that'll work. It'll work with the Air 2S and also the Mini 2. It fits right in there. It's perfect. And as far as the LTE is concerned, that's a super easy thing. All you have to do is call up your carrier like T-Mobile, tell them you want to get a SIM card for an unlocked tablet.
Right.
And it's usually like no more than 10 or 15 bucks a month or something like that. And that's just super easy. I know Verizon, they charge me like 10 or 15 bucks to do something like that. So yeah, that's something that's going to be in the cards for me, because especially in Florida with how bright that sun is here, even, past 10 o'clock in the morning, until the sun is getting ready to set, it's just murder out here, especially in the summertime, trying to look at that screen. You just can't do it. And like I said, I got to sit in the car to do that. So
yeah, no, I understand. Listen, I was out there. In fact, the day that I had the Zino Mini out at the Canyon, I had both the Mini 2 and the Mini SE, and I was doing a comparison. And I had plenty of battery on my phone and everything. But by the time I was done with both flights with both of those drones, I mean, that screen on my iPhone was nearly black. I mean, I could still see. And then, of course, the other advantage that I have is I fly that Canyon so much. There's no obstacles, so it's not like there's anything I'm going to run into. Or I mean, there's not. But it was very, very difficult to, you're trying to get the shot. You have a shot in your mind that you want to get, and if you can't see that FPV screen, it is one of the most frustrating things you'll go through as a drone pilot.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying, because I only once with my iPad Mini 4, it got so hot it overheated, but the drone was already on the way back. And I mean, I could physically, I could hear it. It was that close. So it wasn't like it was that far away, and I could take manual control if I had to, but it was already doing return to home, and it didn't stop doing it. I let it do its thing. So,
did you hear Billy's comment last night about one of his solutions is, I can't remember what they call it, Bill, Samsung better than I do, but that folding phone.
Oh, yes, the Z Fold, yeah.
He says that thing is awesome, and he says he's used it in the bright sun. He says it doesn't dim, and he said it gives you that big screen. He said he uses that all the time.
That is probably something that's on our personal radar list for Valerie and I. Valerie really likes it because it has the Note Pen that was in the Note series of Samsung. It has that capability on it too. And the camera on that, it's a killer camera on there. And, it's just, the screen is just, they have perfected, it's the third generation of the Fold. So they've kind of perfected things. So it's a lot better than the previous one.
Johnny is pointing out, though, the one downside to it. So his last comment there, you probably ought to put that one on screen, Bill, I think.
Let me pull that up.
That's true, Johnny. That is absolutely true.
Yeah, it should fly, make coffee, and go out and get me breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, one of the other things that we're going to talk about before we get to the Zino Mini Pro is the best budget drone. Now, this is going to be a real shock to everybody. Okay, a real shock here. And I'm going to share my screen. I know you will all be completely shocked when I bring this up here. Okay, the Mini SE. All right, it's just, Marcus, you can't get a better drone under $300. You can't.
It's just phenomenal. And let me tell you, one of the things that people criticize is that old style controller. There's some advantages to that controller. When I was flying them back to back, this SE with the Mini 2 the other day, obviously I had to use both controllers. That old controller, it's so much lighter and so much easier to hold. And if you're a pincher, it just falls right to hand. Now, I'll acknowledge that your phone underneath and the way it clamps in there, that is a bummer. But it's not all bad, I guess is what I'm saying. But for $299 and the level of video quality that this thing produces, the precision at which it flies, I can't stop gushing. That's this thing.
You know, awesome. And thank you for bringing up the precision part, because when I had the Fimi Mini, okay, you know, I did the calibration of the remote, and I was pointing that stick forward, and it was doing that shimmying off to the side, okay, and I'm scratching okay, move the stick over, I got to shimmy again, move the stick over, okay. This one, I move that stick forward, it goes the direction I want it to go in.
And it's let me tell you also the difference between this and the original Mavic Mini is that you will not get, it's got a level 5 wind resistance. So one of the big criticisms of the original Mavic Mini was all the wind warnings you would get.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get them with this guy. The other thing that I've noticed is that as opposed to the Mini 2, is you don't get any gimbal pitch shift. In other words, you can have this in sport mode. Now, it's not as fast as the Mini 2. It's not. But you don't have to worry about that gimbal pitching down.
That pitching down
as the drone pitches forward.
Mm-hmm. When you're in sport mode, yeah.
Right.
And I talked about this with Ron a little bit last week, but I thought for $299, I said, oh, DJI is going to put this in one of those what they call blister packs. Okay, that god awful plastic that you cut yourself on when you're trying to get something out. Okay. It comes in a regular box like every other drone that they've made. I mean, they didn't, because they could have pinched pennies there and easily done something like that. But no, they went ahead, they put it in a regular box. I mean, it's a little thing, but it's a big thing because, how many times have you got cut when you were trying to open up one of those blister packs?
I hate blister packs.
Oh, it's just like, on Amazon, a lot of times you can look to see, something you'll get, it'll say blister pack or blister free pack. It's just like, I'll wait a couple of days extra to get a blister free pack. I mean, it's ridiculous having to, but it's just a little thing, and then they include all the manuals are included in there. All the cables are included in there. 2 USB cables.
And they're cables that work.
Yeah. There's a screwdriver in there to change props. I mean, you have everything in there. It's just, and for $299, what's not to like about it?
Absolutely.
And you also touched on a really important point too, that level 5 wind resistance. Okay. Because, you're right. The original Mini, one of the big knocks was, the wind. And, I had mine out in some it was like about 10, 15 miles an hour wind. Couldn't even tell. It didn't phase it at all. No issues whatsoever with that. None.
Yeah. Understood.
None. So, for $299, you can't go wrong. So, in other words, this was kind of a slam dunk. And, I mean, and like we've said, Ron and I talked about, the Mini 3 probably coming in November sometime, and a lot of people, I got some comments on some of one of my Mini SE videos, like, oh, should DJI have waited? Should they wait to put this on? No, okay, because you know what, they're getting, it's a perfect starter drone, okay, and when you get bit with this bug, okay, if you get and you get the right drone, you're going to become a hobbyist like us. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to have a lot of fun. If you get the wrong drone, like a Fimi Mini, okay, you're going to say, why did I even think about this? Okay. Why do I even want to get into it? Okay. And then you get a drone like the Mini SE, and it's just like, it's a whole different ball game. The ball game's changed with something like that. So,
Hey, Bill, Drone Guy is saying that on in the chat that this guy has the same motors and ESCs and props as the Mini 2. So I'm sure that's true. And Rick Smith was saying the same thing. But there is a difference in speed, both vertical speed and horizontal speed with this guy. So my theory is that it must just be how far they let the drone pitch forward.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And tuning, with regard to the motors.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That really does. Now one of the things here, this is what everybody's been waiting for. Okay, Marcus is our Zino Mini Pro resident expert here. Okay, he has it in hand. He's flown it, and let's get into it. First of all, I know you had, and everybody's probably seen the video. Your cable issue, Marcus. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. So I was clear out there at the Snake River Canyon, and I've had cable issues with Hubsan drones before, so I probably should have been prepared and had an aftermarket cable with me. I didn't. But anyway, I got out there. I got the drone off the ground for just a few minutes, got a disconnection. It auto landed in the dirt, which was, really fun. But it was just a struggle getting the darn thing into the air. Just had one problem after another. So I got home. I was pretty discouraged. I got home and I got one of my aftermarket cables that I think I used on the Zino 2, one of those. Anyway, hooked it up, and man, it popped it up and it worked fine. I had a decent connection. I just went to the schoolyard next door, but that wasn't the end of the issues with the drone. I guess, I thought it really, I thought it flew pretty good. I have some quibbles with the controller feel, but really, probably the most stable Hubsan drone that I've ever flown. I mean, it hovered really well and had no complaints with it moving around or anything like that. For one of the first things I tested was the obstacle avoidance. It just didn't work well for me. I messed around with it a little bit, and honestly, just didn't trust it. While I was doing that, and it was about 82 degrees that day. It wasn't terribly hot, but the darn thing overheated. It shut down obstacle avoidance. It shut down video recording. So I shot it straight up and flew it a little bit and to cool it off, and so I could start recording again. Tested out the zoom on it. They had just done the firmware update to make the digital zoom work. It's got 6 times digital zoom. The problem with the zoom was what you see on your FPV screen and what you get off of the internal memory are two different things. It kind of moved, I think it was to the left as you zoomed in. So it's not like you could zoom in on a point of interest. So Ali Shanmao noticed that too, and I know he's got an in with some of the Hubsan engineers, and so he's talking to him about that. Then I guess I also I'm very disappointed in the video. If you look at the video quality, as soon as I take off there, the sky is all blown out. And I was flying it in automatic. That's all they had available at that time. There's if you look, I look at. I've got a 32-inch curved monitor. I could see a lot of shaking in the video, micro shakes I call them, a little bit of jello. Just a disappointment. I landed the drone then on low battery, brought it in, and of course it's got this cover on the bottom, and they make no bones about that. That is for heat. They don't want you to burn yourself with the drone, and boy, they're not kidding. I mean, I picked it up, and you could not touch the bottom of this drone. It was blistering hot, and I'm sure if I'd have kept my finger on it, I would have got some burns. I mean, it was that hot. So, and like I said, it overheated on me just while I was hovering and flying it around close to the ground. So
wow.
I don't,
Well, welcome, Ron.
Hello, gentlemen, and everybody in the chats tonight. Thanks for having me on here. I hear you got a good discussion going on on the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro there. I just wanted to ask Marcus a question. What heats up faster, the Zino Mini Pro or your iPhone dimming? What happens first?
Yeah. Let me finish what I was talking about first, Ron, and then I'll answer that.
Just a joke. Sorry to disrupt the show.
Yeah. No, that's okay. So it was with regard to the kind of two different issues there, but I'll take the dimming of the phone any day because at least you have control of your drone at that point. But where was I at? I guess
you were talking about it being so hot you couldn't touch on the bottom after a flight. Yeah.
So a drone guy is saying first or second week of November to fix it, then you'll have something better to fly. Well, let's hope. I don't know what they're going to do, but they better do something. The other point that I wanted to make was the fact that I paid for this drone on May 7th. 3.5 months later, I get the drone. What were they doing for 3.5 months? Listen, I paid $589 for this drone, and of course, I got 2 batteries and a case and 128 gigabyte internal memory and so forth. Well, that is significantly more than I paid for my Mavic 2 Fly More combo. So I paid more for this than the equivalent DJI drone, and they had my money for 3.5 months. My expectation when I got this thing was to have a drone like we get from DJI, a drone that actually works, that does what it says it's going to do, that flies and gets good video. We didn't get that from Hubsan, and it's just no good. It's not good. It's not how you treat your consumers.
We were talking about that, Marcus. I know you were in on a discussion, and Ron and I had this too, that we wanted we wanted this to be out of the box with maybe a firmware update, because with DJI, there's almost always a firmware update.
There could be little things, absolutely,
right, little things.
Yep.
But to do what it said, what Hubsan has been touting that this drone is going to do, and to do it without any having to go through any conniptions or any kind of voodoo or anything like that, out of the box, and it sounds to me, like one of the only things, it was stable. Okay. Now that's something for a Hubsan drone out of the box, because I know you had, especially with Zino 2, Marcus, you had your, going up and down and all that kind of stuff.
Marcus had one like to dance a whole lot.
Yeah, it was dance on, and this seems stable, but everything else, okay, the obstacle avoidance, the heating issue on it, the camera on it, it's like, okay, are we Fimi Mini 2.0 here? Kind of a thing, because my Fimi Mini is long gone, and I wish whoever bought it all the best of the luck in the world with it, because that's just a problematic drone.
Oh, you sold your Fimi Mini, Bill?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I had no regrets, 0 regrets.
Bill, you're the smartest man on this show.
Can I give you some news? Can I give you some news on this guy as well?
What's that?
It's all fixed now. It's all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows now. It's
in my dreams.
I hope that's the news Marcus is going to deliver.
Yeah, Ronnie boy. keep dreaming, brother. Keep dreaming. So Fimi got a hold of me, and they said, hey, they sent me some firmware for it, and they said, try this. We think that might help your problem. I did. I had this guy out at the canyon again yesterday, and if anything, the gimbal was worse than ever, just all over the place. So I reported back to Fimi, and they said, you know what? They said, just send it back to us, and we'll send you another one. So, they'll at least I'm going to send it back to them, and they'll look at it. You know, what we can say is we know there's some people that have got some good ones. I think Johnny Drone Flyer, he says his works okay. I've seen Al Duran. I've seen video off of his that looks pretty decent from what we can see. However, I know more people that have had bad ones. You, Ron, our friend John Coopy. I've had 3 of them. So it's this there again. At least this one was priced reasonably, and I ordered it and had it within a couple of weeks after I ordered it. But yeah, anyway.
But I'm gonna keep quoting John Coopy here. It was priced at $319 for his people beginning, but I'd have rather paid $100 more and got a drone that worked. So
totally with you there.
That pricing meant nothing to me because I got a drone that essentially, you talk about the Hubsan not doing what it's supposed to do. The Fimi doesn't even get off the ground decently or whatever. For me, anyways, my thing. Hey, I don't know if you guys addressed this yet, but a bigger issue to Marcus's semi review here of the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. When we were watching the videos, and I won't even name any names, when we were watching the first couple of videos come out of Asia with people who got the drone and were doing videos, they're both 2 guys. I don't want to throw anybody's names under the bus. These 2 guys report a lot less issues than Marcus was. Do we think that they were kind of, not telling the whole tale, Bill? Do you think?
Yeah, I think they were holding back
out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm overstepping here.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Because, if anything, okay, I'm going to say this, okay? The 3 of us, we don't have any, what I will call allegiance to Hubsan, okay? We like their semi, I'll use the word quotes, like their products, okay? And we enjoy testing them and everything. But, as on, and I know you and I know Marcus, okay? And you know what? Marcus is not going to sugarcoat anything, okay? He's going to say it like it is, all right?
Bill, can I amend that for a second?
Go ahead.
Here's what I try and do is I just try and just show what my actual experience is, right? Just what it is. That's it.
No agenda. Just
it speaks for itself. In other words, it speaks for itself. And here's my $60,000 question to you, Marcus, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this as well, too, Ron. Are the issues that you experienced with the Zino Mini Pro, will a firmware update take care of them?
Listen,
not just one firmware update.
Yeah.
Series. Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not joking. I mean, this is going to take like the Zino 1. It's going to take a series of firmware updates coming out over months because anybody they're gonna fix things, break other things, so it's going to take several rounds.
Ron, it doesn't even have all the features activated yet. So they need firmware updates just to make it all those features that they advertised be live on the drone, right?
Yeah. I know a lot of people are excited about the features, and that's why they got the drone. But they need to before they worry about any more features, they just need to have everything that's operational now be 100%.
That it flies and the camera works. So to answer your question, Bill, and Ron and I both went through this with the original Hubsan Zino. When you first saw the camera on that drone, you would have said, there's nothing they can do about this. But you know what? They gradually refined it. And I'm not saying that the camera was anywhere near DJI quality, but it was pretty good. And can they improve this thing? I don't know. What I worry about the most is you'll see in the video that I'm working on the edit right now. I had it out over the canyon and it was fairly windy, and you'll see a lot of shakes in that video, and you'll see a lot of jello. So is that something that can be fixed with firmware, or is it something that's endemic to the hardware on the gimbal? I can't tell you. I don't know.
Wow. What are your thoughts, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are only watching Marcus's videos and the guys that have it in Asia, and it's definitely possible that the gimbal issues can be fixed through firmware. I mean, we can't like Marcus said, we can't say whether it's mechanical or software, but there's 50-50 chance that it could be fixed through a software. I mean, the Zino 1 gimbal got better as we moved along through the firmware updates. And when Marcus is referring to the Zino 1, it had a focus issue. It focused on what was up close to it, and blur was in the background, kind of the opposite of what you would want or whatever. And they easily fixed that. And from watching Marcus's video and watching the guys from Asia, this doesn't seem like it has the crazy lens flare issue that the Zino 2 had, which was uncorrectable. So I'm going to say a lot of the stuff in the camera, could be corrected also.
I sure hope so, Ron.
I think the biggest concern is Marcus wisely points to, is the overheating issue. That's the thing.
That is
the hardest thing to correct. Somebody in the chat mentioned, well, turn the bit rate down to decrease the heat on it. And yeah, that may be a good hack workaround for sure. But I mean, you bought a drone because it had 200 bit, and now you have to set it down to like 60 bit. Do you get a refund for flying at a lower bit rate?
Hey, Bill, Stephen Ewing's got a great comment up there. He's saying, okay, but it's pretty good enough for the cost. And I'll answer that, Stephen. I don't think so, because, a lot of people purchase this drone. Well, you saw all the hullabaloo. You don't get the attention of people like Rick Smith and Young 360 and Sean over at Air Photography. They're all
Aldrin
Estacio is interested in it as well. They're interested in it because the promises that Hubsan made of the quality of that big sensor in the camera and all that. Let me tell you, this little mini SE right here has got twice the camera as that Hubsan drone. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, and we keep comparing this drone to the DJI Mini 2, whatever. But really, now this isn't in reality, but in the spec sheet, when you look at the spec sheet, it compares more favorably to the Air 2 series than the Mini.
It should, because
if you just go in that spec sheet.
You're absolutely right, Ron. In fact, I really think the camera, just the pure camera quality as it sits, and we all know that this Fimi camera has its problems with vignetting, etc. But I'm saying the quality of the camera that I saw on this is better than what I've seen on that Zino Mini.
Now, I got a question for you, Marcus, and it's about the obstacle avoidance, okay? And this is just, and I know they've kind of touted it, and they said, this is the first drone, 249 grams with obstacle avoidance, okay, and all this, okay. And I know, and I saw your video, okay. And my question is this, and I don't know the answer. I couldn't find anything on this, but the obstacle avoidance, is it just to warn you, or should it stop the drone?
No, it brakes. In fact, there's a slider in there that you turn on, and it will actually brake. And what Hubsan has promised is that eventually it'll have what DJI calls APAS. It'll actually move around.
Okay.
That's not available yet.
Sean mentions that in his videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I should say that, we heard that from Alishan Mao. So,
okay.
But the reality was, it was not reliable. And I've got a theory that I think that obstacle avoidance was using so much processing power that's what overheated the drone and caused some of those issues.
Okay.
Just a theory.
You're probably right. I mean, they probably have stuffed a lot inside such a little frame there. Okay. That's probably one of the issues. The other one is, and Ron and I had talked about this, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, about, having enough ports to cool that drone off. Okay. And I know we've talked about this and we broached that subject before. You gotta be forward thinking with something like this. You gotta know in terms of, from an engineering standpoint, and that's why I'm trying to get Rick Smith on, and I'm trying to hopefully get him on next week. But from an engineering standpoint, they wanted the kitchen sink. Okay. They got the kitchen sink, but you know what? They forgot the faucet. Okay. They forgot a way of being able to cool things off with this. You know?
It kind of makes me wonder, because I'm looking at the drone now, Bill. If you compare with I'll pick up the Fimi here in a second. They all have vent. This has those two vents in the front. I don't see any vents on the front of the Hubsan drone. And if you look on top of this guy, look, you got that big vent on top, so that
Mhm.
it's getting flow through airflow.
Well, Marcus, a lot of our armchair engineers turn the drone around backwards and show the large openings in the arms, the front arms. See the large the other way. Yeah, see those large. Yeah, now you can see it, Marcus. Those large openings at the back of the arms. They're much larger than on DJI drones, and they were thinking that's a possible release point for heat.
The large. Oh, you're talking about this.
Okay, yeah, but the front arms. Look where the front arm connects to the body. The other way around, towards you. See, it's a big hole there, much bigger than on the DJI drones.
Yeah, you're right, Ron.
You see what I mean, Bill?
Yeah, you're right about that.
But the thing is, it's not really a hole. I mean, that's
Could
not
air
really a
get
hole.
through there?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Then they're wrong. That's so armchair speculation that was a heat release point.
Yeah. I mean, Bill, you can put that full screen for a second if the audience wants to see it. But
is that black we see it there? Is that rubber?
Yeah, no, that's the wire going into
the
wire.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Bill's gonna.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't mean
Put the 3 dots on Marcus's window.
Hey,
that didn't work.
You're looking good though.
Yeah, well, that's better.
Yeah, that's good enough. They can see it there. Yeah. So anyway, I don't see where air's going to get out of there. Anyway.
Okay. Well, it could be maybe you could poke some holes in there, Marcus, and get some airflow going through there.
Now, one of the things I wanted to let you guys know about, I've been communicating with my contact at Hubsan US, and I haven't heard back from him in over a week. So I emailed him again today, and it's been crickets. Okay. And it's been crickets ever since. Now, here's something else, and I don't know if you guys can answer this question or not. I posted it in the group today. I'm just curious as to how many people I know there's plenty of people up in Canada that have it, but in terms of, besides Marcus, I really don't know anybody in the United States.
Greg Pittman.
Greg Pittman
got his the same thing Marcus did.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Hubsan US has been silent. I mean, it's been silent for over a week. But one of the interesting things that I looked at on Hubsan US's site is they have accessories to be able to purchase. Of course, it's all grayed out, but they have extra batteries. They have that battery butlers, they call it. They have a case. They have props. I mean, they have every kind of accessory you want, but it's all grayed out. It's just kind of funny how all of a sudden that communication flow has just stopped. It's just ceased. Now, last he told me, okay, he said the drone would be shipped sometime this week. That's the last thing that he said.
Well, the other thing that's worth mentioning with regard to Hubsan too is their customer service, and I intend to look into that. Now, I will say, Ali Shanmao got a hold of me and asked me to send him the flight logs from the drone, and that he was going to then send them to the Hubsan engineers. So I did that. So I'm anxious to see if they come up with anything. But if not, I'm going to give it a few updates, and if it's still as problematic as it's been, I'm going to test out the Hubsan customer service and their support, and we'll just see how it is, right? I mean,
it goes, with that.
Yeah, when I first got my Mini 2, I had an issue, and DJI, they sent me a prepaid label. I sent it back to them. I had it back to me in about a week and a half, right?
That's the same experience you'll expect to see from Hubsan, huh?
Well, for the price I paid, why shouldn't I expect that?
Exactly.
Right?
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And, Marcus brought up a real good point. He got his on May 8th. I bought mine on May 18th. Ron, when did you get yours?
Well, I ordered if the 7th was the day Marcus ordered. I ordered that same day, but they didn't take the money from PayPal until the 10th.
Okay.
But I don't know why, because Marcus ordered for me would be the AM hours of the 7th, and I ordered in my AM hours. I got up that morning and ordered like at 7 a.m. My time, whatever. So I ordered hours behind Marcus, but I don't know why those couple hours made my PayPal thing I don't know. I can't explain the process, but I know that my PayPal now says the money was taken on the 10th.
Yeah, mine's
And real quickly here, Bill. At this point, if it takes any longer, I just want to write and say, just roll me over for the Hubsan Zino Mini 2.
Yeah,
which will be out in about 6 months.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
You know, Ron, you could be touching on something. You know, the first generation of this product. I'm going to tell you this: when I checked that first battery that I used, you know how you can look in the battery section in the app. It already had 3 cycles on it, and it was a brand new drone, right? Or supposedly a brand new drone. Could this have been one that they used for testing? I mean, how did that battery get 3 cycles on it, right?
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
So
I mean, let's say they test a lot using in the factory. They just turned it on for a second. I wonder if Greg Pittman's arrived in the same condition you are. Because if Greg wouldn't have got it, I would have said, well, yours, they just sent you one because of your channel, whatever. You didn't get a regular consumer copy, but since Greg Pittman got it the same day, that kind of throws a monkey wrench in my theory.
I can answer a little bit of that question, and there was another channel that showed the same thing. Greg's is having a problem with his. He's got a blue tint in his video, and he was asking me about it, and I said, "Man, Greg, I got no clue." And I saw that one of the other reviewers, I don't know where, Indonesia or somewhere, I'm not sure where he was at, he had the same issue. So yeah, I don't know.
Blue tint.
Well,
I do like the color blue, so if it's going to be a tint, might as well be tinted to a color that I like.
We were all, Ron and I kind of talked about this a little bit last week, Marcus. It's like, we were brushing some things aside, okay? The disastrous live show that Hubsan had, it was just a total disaster, okay? And it's like, okay, you know what? That's fine. They probably, they don't have the staff and the PR people and all that, and that's okay. All right. And we kind of pushed that aside and said, you know what, let's kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. The Zino has improved. So, maybe they did hit something here. Okay. Now, I did watch that video from, a couple of friends over in Ali Shah and the other gentleman, and I did watch some of that.
World Explorer and L3 Toys has one flight video out.
Right. And it seemed like it was hopeful, from some of these videos that I watched. But hearing watching Marcus's video and hearing him and hearing about what happened with Greg Pittman here, it's kind of like, here we are again, kind of a thing. And Marcus is right. The other thing was, for what we paid for this drone, okay, and I'm going to say it, and I know we had already talked about this, out of the box with maybe a firmware update, it should be good to go. There shouldn't be any questions.
I get one more thing that I should add here. So I get an email this morning from Banggood. Now, I didn't buy this from Banggood. I bought it directly from Hubsan. But I got an email from the people at Banggood asking me if I would take my video down and they would put me directly in touch with Hubsan. So, of course, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take my video down. But I just thought that was a little bit of an interesting development. Was that just Banggood, wanting to make sure they could still sell Hubsan Minis, or was it Hubsan speaking through Banggood? I have no idea.
Yeah, the plot thickens here, whatever. And again,
I politely declined.
Thank you, Marcus. And again, back to Marcus's we'll say honest review to compare it to, and I don't throw any of these channels under the bus, but World Explorer did a video where he did a range test with the Zino Mini Pro, and he said it got further out and it had better signal connection than the Mini 2 did.
Ron,
of course, he did a night flight and he probably flew at 1,000 feet in the air, but
Ron, let me tell you this without spoiling my next video. I think my original Hubsan Zino will fly farther than my Hubsan Mini. That'll help you any.
Yeah. So I said we're I'm all the stuff we got encouraged about out of Asia. Now I've kind of got to backtrack off of all that or whatever, and take it all with a grain of salt now.
Now, and I'm going to throw this out there, and this is just, I'm just, just the wheels are turning a little bit here. Do you think that they could have gotten a updated version of the Zino Mini Pro?
Yeah, or could I just have a bad one?
Yeah.
I mean, it's back to the same thing with all these toy companies. Marks could have got the Friday drone. Alisham could have got the one they made on Tuesday or whatever. Again, the only way you can really tell is the way Marcus knew that the Fimi Mini's no good. He has 3 of them, so he struck out. He struck
I'm working on number 4, Ron.
Yeah. So he you get the 4. He probably won't get a walk with that. He'll get a 4 strikeout. So the only way you could really, if he had 3 Hubsan Zino Mini Pros and they all stunk in about the same way, then it's a strikeout there too, or whatever. I mean, hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Hopefully the next firmware update, cures a couple problems and on and on and on. I mean, I'm not telling anybody out there to totally give up on the Mini Pro yet or whatever.
No.
But I mean, we could tell, this is no secret. He'll say it tomorrow night on his show, Johnny Drone Flyer. We both were in contact with Johnny Drone Flyer after Marcus's initial flight. Marcus told him about the flight. He consoled me. Johnny's already canceled his order, and he got his money that he paid with PayPal. So PayPal's already put the money back in his account, and I'll go out there. I'm real close to doing the same thing. I mean, I'm like, Marcus always has that hitting the buy button or whatever. I'm real close to hitting the unbuy button. I mean, I'm real close, Bill. I'm on the razor's edge on this.
Well, and Marcus and I were kind of talking about this a little bit before we started here. I'm on the, I felt a little bit on the bubble as well too. But I think I'm gonna go through with this because I want to carry this through, and I want to see, and I kind of want to see this here, and give it a fair shake and give it a shot because we've talked about it quite a bit on the show, and I know the Mini 3 is going to be coming up in November and all that, and that'll definitely be on the radar. But for now, I want to give this a shot, and I want to see if Hubsan can follow through here.
I appreciate that, Bill, because you know what? I would love to see, hey, could it just be my drone, right? Maybe you'll get one that everything will work beautifully, and that'll be great. And then I'll just bug Hubsan for an exchange or something, right?
Yeah. Or Bill Big as DJI Mini 3 before he ever receives his Hubsan Zino Mini.
That's entirely possible as well. I mean, it's entirely possible.
Hell, maybe the Mini 4 even.
Yeah, or you know what? Or Hubsan will have their Mini SE out before the Pro ships. Okay.
Yeah. Well, have we got any updates on the Hubsan Zino Mini SE?
I haven't seen it.
I looked at their website.
Can you actually buy it yet on their website? Is it viable?
So, Ron, I can tell you for a while they had it as a pre-order. So now on both the Mini Pro and the Mini SE on Hubsan's website, they're both grayed out. You can't buy either one. That kind of tells me that they know there's something wrong with it.
Could that mean there's a problem to not shipping out orders now because they want to fix them before they ship them out? I mean, it's commendable if they do that, but it's not. It's commendable, but it's not commendable if they don't tell us.
Ray Kelly brought up what would the price of the Mini 3 be. That's just that pure speculation at this point, Ray. We don't know what's going to be on there. We can kind of guess what's going to be on there. You kind of know that Frank Wang is going to say, you know what?
Frank Wang grabbed the spreadsheet for the Zino Mini Pro and told the engineers, boys, I want to see all this.
Here's your blueprint. Let's get back. Let's set the bar a little higher here. Okay. To have, and here's the thing. All right. Again, and I think we kind of talked about it with the Fimi Mini. Okay. How Fimi rushed this, and had they waited and done it right, it could have been a completely different drone. And I think we're looking at I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're kind of looking at the same thing here with Hubsan. I think they probably, they want to jump on the Mini bandwagon, get it out there. DJI's done so well. we're gonna do something that's gonna be different than everybody. But oops,
Hey,
hopefully I'm wrong.
What's the answer to Ray's question? Even though we're totally guessing on the specs, give Ray a ballpark, Bill. On
you see, here's what I'm gonna say. And people are gonna kind of like go. I'm gonna say maybe $599. Okay, because you're gonna have obstacle avoidance on that. You might broach subject of a different kind of camera on there. You might get zoom capability on that camera. Frank will be known. There'll be some curveballs in there, like as Marcus is fond of saying. DJI will give us something we didn't think we needed, but we will need it once we see it.
We don't need sticker shock though, Bill.
Yeah, we don't need sticker shock, but see, for $599, all right, they can probably get something like they can probably get that kind of a price for the feature set that they'll offer on that.
Right, and still keep the SE around for people who really want to fly a bargain drone.
Absolutely, and the Mini 2 will still be available. You'd be able to buy that somewhere, and that's an incredible drone in and of its own self. So
I'm going to give Ray better news. Ray, I'm looking more $499.
Okay.
Marcus, do you have a?
Yeah, I'm going to guess, and I do. I just have a little premonition that I might have seen in the chat. Might have $549 for the base unit.
All right, I got no problems with that. So, Marcus, any closing thoughts for tonight?
Yeah, listen. Here's what I'm going to say. There's I've had some struggles with this guy, but I guess what I'm going to say is it's one thing for me because I have a channel that I review drones and that's kind of what I do. So that's okay. Who I really feel bad for is the average consumer that buys this and thinks that they're going to get all those features that work great, and they're not. They're just not. And they'd be way better off spending a lot less money and buying a drone like this Mini SE that everything actually works on it. Will it have tracking and 4K and waypoints and all that? No. But you know what? It'll work, and you'll get great video. And why buy a camera drone? I mean, that's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, so, that makes a whole lot of sense.
And basically, let's give the straight scoop, Marcus. If they want all the bells and whistles that the Hubsan Zino Mini promises or whatever, just pony up an extra $400 to get yourself a DJI Air 2S series.
Air 2S.
You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You'll have every bell and whistle except waypoints, and you won't need another drone.
There you go, Ron.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ron. Any closing thoughts, Ron?
Just go DJI Air 2S. Just don't This is my opinion. Don't keep spending $300, $400, $500 on drones that maybe don't satisfy all your needs. Now, if you only going to put this drone, you're going to fly it once a month in the park or whatever for 5 minutes. Yeah, then like the Mini SE or something, fine. Spend the $399, be done with it. But if you intend to do anything more than just fly in the park once in a while, just go up and get something, like the Air 2S. Even if it's a little bit too high, the original Air 2, it outside the camera is almost just as good as a drone. I know it doesn't have the OcuSync 3 or whatever, but if you don't fly in an area where you have bad signal or whatever, and it actually flies longer because it has the same battery, but it'll go further because OcuSync 3 eats more energy.
It does.
You got a little bit battery. So if you're in a tighter budget, get the regular Air 2. If you have a little bit extra money to spend, get the Air 2S, and you can avoid this whole glut of drones in the under $500 market, especially if the only one that fits your needs is the Zino Mini Pro, which those features don't work anyways. Just go get a drone that you only buy one drone. Because remember, if you buy 3 of these little drones and whatever, you will have spent more money than you would if you bought an Air 2S.
Mm-hmm. You make perfect sense, and I got
listen to this guy. He's very smart.
Yes, Ron makes a lot. And Marcus,
money, folks.
Marcus made a lot of sense, and Ron made a lot of sense right here. And and I concur with both of them. It's like I feel and Marcus brought up a great point. I really feel for somebody who's looking to get a drone, okay, and they consider something like the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, or they consider the Fimi Mini, because you know what? They're going to be disappointed. All right. And you know what? It's going to give them a bad taste about our hobby. And that's not a good thing. However, if they decide to get a DJI Mini SE, their taste is going to be, they're going to whet their appetite in the right way. You know, things work, okay, with DJI drones. Okay. They just work. And, you know, that's what you want. You know, it's like, okay, why did I decide to get a Toyota Highlander? You know, I've had one before. I've had
You can afford a Chevy, Bill?
You know, I've had it before. I know what to expect. I know I'm going to expect quality, you know, and I get quality. You know, I know what I'm getting into.
But Bill, you could say the bundle in that Yugo.
I could have. I sure could have. Yeah. But I'd have had to buy a lot of nuts and bolts to put it back together. That's for sure. With something like that.
And really, some of these drones we're talking about, they're the equivalent of the Yugo.
Yeah.
Marcus, you've reviewed a couple Yugo drones and over the
a few. Yeah, they keep sending them to me. Yeah.
Well, you know, I got to say this, you know, and I will say this, and I think this is a good point here. You know, the Air 2S is just, it's, if you can afford that, get that drone. Okay, you will not be disappointed in any way, shape, or form. I guarantee you that. You will have enough features on there to last years. Okay, I guarantee you that.
I got to put in a plug, Bill.
Go ahead.
Look at my last video that I posted. I call the Air 2S the boss of drones.
There we go.
You're right. You're right. It is.
Now, our links down below if you want to buy the drone. Now we sound like shills.
Yeah.
Oh, just as a quick side note, and I wanted to throw this out there, DJI's affiliate program is still underwater.
I know.
To check the other day, it's still, you know.
That's going millions, guys.
Yeah. Alden Anastacio said, what show was he on? He says, I'm not going to lie, that really hurt. So,
yeah. I mean, that's been a good income. So,
well, those guys, those big channels, can you imagine?
Oh, having over 100K subscribers. Oh yeah.
I mean, and I know they say this doesn't work, but it doesn't make any sense to me if you could drop a Amazon link instead, because lots of times Amazon will get it to you faster. It's easy return policy. If an issue, easier to get your money back from Amazon. There's a lot of reasons to buy from Amazon rather than the DJI. You'll get same aftercare. You could buy the same DJI Care Refresh. And everything I'm saying about Amazon also goes with Best Buy also.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But of course, does Best Buy have an affiliate program?
They may, Ron. I don't know, but
and I know the key thing with Amazon is they don't pay as much as the DJI one does. But I'm sure with the DJI one ever comes back again, I'm sure the pay rate will be greatly reduced.
Let me make one quick point about Best Buy, though, because I don't want the consumers, the people watching, to lose that. If you buy a DJI drone at Best Buy, you open the box or whatever, decide you don't want it. If it's defective, it's one thing. But if you just take it back and say, you know what, this just isn't for me, they're going to charge you a 10% restock fee, where Amazon will not. So I just wanted to mention that.
Right. That's a good point, Marcus. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. And of course, either 10%, if that's your way of trying the drone, no, you don't like it, send it, take it back, is well worth the 10% to try it out, to know that it's not for you. Like say if you got the FPV drone, you got it home and you figured out after a couple of days, this drone.
If I'd have bought this at Best Buy,
and Marcus could have bought that at Best Buy, that you would gladly pay that 10% to get that thing back and get your
definitely. Well, I want to thank Ron, and I want to thank Marcus for showing up tonight, and appreciate all your insight, and Marcus, your experience with the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. That was great, and I'm sure we'll look forward to getting ours and hopefully going through the growing pains and hopefully get a good product out there. So just want to thank you guys for showing up tonight. Really appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight. Had a great audience as always. And you guys have a great chat. I watched the chat throughout the whole show. and you guys do so well. And
A lot of good guys in that chat, Bill.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, just a ton of good guys out there, really contributing well. Lots of great comments. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much, and remember, it's always a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Good night.